Sketch is here. This is from Angel Studios. This is a film about a brother and a sister. It's focused on the young girl. Tony Hale plays their father, and they recently lost their mother. Tragically, they're not orphans. What do they say in the movie? It's actually very clever.
Oh, I forgot, but it has something to do with orphans.
Yeah, the kids wonder if they're orphans, but their dad's still alive, played by Tony Hale, of course.
Alive and still their father.
Yes, being he's a widowed, he's a widow and trying to raise his kids, and his daughter is, well, she's into dark things. She keeps a notebook filled with sketches of monsters, and they're cleverly named. Some of the monsters, one of the monsters I thought that was very clever was Eider. It's a spider that's a big ball of an eye. It's an eye.
Yeah, it's the one in the poster there.
Yes, exactly. So she draws these monsters in her sketchbook. A counselor at her school is very concerned. And when the notebook...
Should mention that these are violent pictures.
They're violent and bloody.
They're just not monsters, cute little monsters.
Yeah, they're violent and gory looking, and maybe not for a young child. The sketchbook disappears in the water that maybe has some magic where the monsters actually come to life. And this film ends up being, without giving away too much, it's like, in a way, kind of like Jurassic Park, or the last act of Jurassic Park, where these monsters, it's a horror movie for kids. That's a throwback to things like the Goonies movies from the 80s and 90s, kids films that featured adult themes. But it's more than that. It's also about healing. It's also about healing over the loss of a parent. I think it's mostly for single digit age kids, although I think it's a safe, scary movie for young kids, because having raised two kids like to be scared. They like to, one of my favorite things to do with my kids was to chase them, and I was the monster. That's a simple game. It's something primal in our heads, going back to our lizard brains. We kind of like that, the relief of escape from being chased by a monster. That's what this movie is. It's very clever, very well done in terms of the way they bring these drawings actually to life. There is an app that comes with this that they released along with the movie. It's just called, look up Sketch app. You can take your own drawings and make them come to life, or take a photo and you can make that photo turn into a 3D monster. So kind of a clever tie-in. I think Angel Studios is really good at scaling their budget to the market. It's a really good movie for kids. So, Alan, what did you think of Sketch?
Yeah, I like Sketch. And the biggest reason is, we've seen movies like this before. A girl draws a picture of a monster. It comes to life in wacky adventure. This is not a wacky adventure. The monsters she draws, when they come to life, they're not menacing in the fact that, they're around the corner and they're going to eat you, but they are creepy and they are scary. And, and I like that. I think that the writer-director, Seth Worley, he nailed the tone to make this movie different than other child monster movies. And the other thing is, and I'll say this again about two other movies, is that it's smart. It takes this horror genre and has it say something about something. This is what I complain about Hollywood movies of late, is that all it is a plot. The characters move from A to B to C, and at the end they come out victorious. In this movie, it's about grief. It's about healing from grief. And the entire movie surrounds itself around that subject and treats it in a very respectful way and a very helpful way. If you have kids who recently lost a parent or lost a loved one, this is a movie that will connect with them, because there are characters that the smart thing you do as a writer is you take these four characters and you give them a different approach to grief. Like, for example, the girl Amber, the way she processes her grief is that she draws pictures. In fact, to the point where the counselor in the beginning of the movie says, "I would rather you draw violent pictures than not talk about it."
Right.
And then you have a father who can't seem to get past the loss, or decides that it's more important to run away from loss than it is to confront it. And then you have the young boy there who is kind of caught in between. He is sort of taking the father role and trying to keep the family together. And you take these viewpoints, you put it in a movie, and it says something about grief. And that's why this movie succeeds. That's why it's good, and that's why its tone just sets it apart from any other kid movie on the same subject that you'll ever see. So it's not the greatest movie in the world, but it is a smart, is a thought-provoking, and is a very empathetic movie, especially for children.
And if you have young kids of a certain age, I would say single digit, maybe 11 and under, I believe they'll love this. It treats it very seriously. It doesn't gloss over losing their mother. It's very much from the kid's point of view. That's why I compare it to Goonies and whatnot. So I give it a recommend for sure, especially if you have kids. It doesn't gloss over the serious aspects.
Yeah, and there's a third kid in the movie that is the comic relief.
Right. He's really good. He's good.
It's really good in this movie.
Let's go to comments. And I will say that I'll end on this. This is not a movie Disney could make. This is what I want to see. Disney would not be capable of making this.
Yeah, because the first thing in Disney's mind is children should not have to deal with this. Or children, we've seen it in some of these reports we've done, is that for some reason we think we're experts in children, and we're not. And kids can and need to handle very adult subjects head on.